Hello there. So, as you can see by the title of the video, I just kind of wanted to have a little speak about what it was like going for the full license, the full motorcycle A category license, what it's like going from not knowing how to ride a bike to CBT to A2 and a full license. Am I going? Oh, you're going. Okay, you're waiting. Thank you. I've had my A2 license, which is when you're restricted to about 45 horsepower, which works out to be generally around 400 to 500 cc if you're going for most of the bikes these days. You can also ride a restricted bike, so if it's up to about 90 horsepower you can restrict it down to 45. So things like MT-07 and SV650 and stuff like that, you can restrict it down so the power is a bit less. Yeah, that's what license I've been using for the last 3 years. That's what you're kind of restricted to around the age that I was at. I did that coming from a CBT, so that is when you're riding a 125 or 125cc. Yeah, that was, I mean, it was a good learning experience having the CBT. You definitely learn to screw up without, you know, going at stupid speeds. I remember one of the times I was riding my Lexmoto Lowride 125, which is basically a cruiser. Basically just did not know how to downshift. I held my clutch in for ages, downshifted, and basically just released my clutch. All my revs were super low. And as you can imagine, my rear wheel locked up and my back wheel slid out, but it corrected itself, which I was just, it was a shit myself moment, but I was lucky to still be on the bike. Needless to say, I learned what rev matching was after that, which of course they don't tell you on the CBT, or at least they didn't on mine. Let's go this way. And yeah, after a couple of years of being on the CBT, I decided, obviously, that 125 wasn't enough. For fun reasons and also, in my opinion, safety reasons, but I'm going to do a separate video on that, on my opinion on the whole 125 CBT setup that the UK have. I decided that I wanted, yeah, obviously a bit more of a powerful bike, and the only license I could do at the time was an A2 or an A1, but we won't go into what an A1 is. It's basically a CBT with extra benefits, but an A2, yeah, allows me to ride something like this, a bit more powerful than a 125, and a bit more fun, you know, and a bit more safe. And to be honest, the difference from a 125 to a 500cc bike, it's not like, you know, obviously 500cc is technically 5 times bigger than a 125, or close enough. I suppose 4 times bigger actually, like literally. It doesn't feel 4 times more powerful, at least not in like the lower speeds. And I was just kind of surprised, I guess. I was really intimidated by the idea of going up to a bigger bike. I know that a lot of our like sort of people across the pond are going to be watching this thinking 500, that's a beginner bike, but it's not quite the same here. It's more sort of 125 is your beginner, and basically anything above that you're considered a real biker. At least that's how I see it anyway. At least that's how I read it from people. But yeah, it just wasn't really that much of a big difference when I actually did my test. So thank you. So I did my test on an SV650, which was restricted to around 45 horsepower. What is this car doing? yeah, the biggest sort of difference, I guess, is the actual size and weight of the bike. That was the first thing I noticed. But also, one of the things I noticed that actually I thought was easier than riding a 125 was because obviously the engine's got more power. I found it was a lot harder to stall. I think that is a thing generally with bigger bikes because of the power difference, but also because the SV650, I think it was the Gen 3, is it? The most kind of recent ones, the like naked kind of ones with the trellis frame and stuff like that. They have an assist clutch, so basically when you slowly release your clutch, it gives you a bit more revs, so you don't really even have to worry about revs on that bike, which was really nice for passing the test nice and easy anyway. Which is funny that I say that, because I actually had to do my test 3 times. Yeah, it's nice and easy to pass the test with the fucking assisted clutch. Fails twice. Yeah, another thing I kind of almost didn't expect, I don't know why, but from the SV650 was just the amount of wind that hits you when you're actually going at a national speed limit. Which doesn't happen too much on a lot of 125. National speed limit in the UK is 60 miles an hour, by the way, or 100 kilometers per hour for my European friends. And yeah, just the sheer amount of wind that was hitting me was just that it just made the bike feel so much faster. But apart from that, if you've done your CBT already, you already know how to ride a bike. You just need to prove that you can ride one that's capable of a bit more power, which realistically your techniques don't change from a 125. You just need to be, in some cases, a bit more careful. Yeah, it's not as much of a big jump, I would say, as it sounds. So I guess if you're looking to do an A2 from a CVT and you're kind of worried, oh, maybe I don't actually need that much power. Personally, I honestly do think that having more power is safer, at least in this regard. And yeah, just don't be intimidated by it, because it's really not as big of a jump as you would think from 125, in my opinion. And then yeah, recently I did the full license. Basically, you can ride anything. I guess it's the same as doing an MSF course in America, which I guess I know in some states you don't even have to do. You can just ride whatever you can, you know, just never stepped on a bike before and then just step foot on a Busa. But you know, yeah. So I can now ride anything. The whole experience of that was somewhat similar actually, from an A2 to a full, than it was from a 125 to an A2. The bike I did my test on this time was an MT-07, obviously unrestricted, and when you've been riding a 500cc, it's going up to a 700 isn't that much different. Passed both of those first time, thankfully. Because you know, I've been riding regularly at that point, and I knew the area that I was doing the test in, so yeah. How funny would it be if I crashed right now while speaking about passing my test for the first time? That would be absolutely hilarious. Oh shit. There we go. I would have got a minor or a major for that, I think. Leaving my indicator on, not good. But yeah, that went really smoothly. I was shitting myself because it's a lot of money, especially in the cost of living crisis. It's about, if I was doing maybe a couple of lessons and then the test, it's about 300 quid, to be honest, which is perhaps laughable in some respects, but has to be done, unfortunately. And yeah, I'll be hopefully testing out some bikes this year, this coming summer. I want to 900 cc's, 1000 cc's, you know. Not that I don't really know what I'd go for next, but I think I'm keeping this for a little while longer. But yeah, it's just nice to sort of finally have that freedom after proving myself over sort of a 6-year period that I can ride a bike. I can actually finally ride what I want. Insurance allowing, of course. Don't worry, I wasn't revving at you, I was downshifting. But one thing to mention about the whole kind of progression system we've got here in the UK is, yes, it does feel mostly safe. It feels like you are really learning in a progressive manner, and I do think that allows you to survive longer perhaps on a bike. But the price of everything, like licenses, I think overall I spent, it has to be close to something like £1,400 on licenses. Let me know what sort of, like, if you're in the UK, let me know what your opinion is of the whole licensing system here. I know there's probably quite a few people that would disagree with me. Get off your fucking phone. What are you doing, sir? How much you bet? Maybe not on our phone. Just an extremely cautious driver, I guess. Let me know what you think. And yeah, see you on the next one. Bye.